This is part 2 of 3, the C Retirement Rollover series. In the last episode, part 1 of 3, we talked about one of the biggest mistakes you can make with a TSP or 401k, and that is rolling money out of it without fully understanding what you're giving up in fees, investment options, and protections. If you've been in the workplace for any length of time, you've probably faced this question when leaving a job, and that is, what should I do with my 401k? You generally have a few choices. You can leave it where it's at in your former employer's plan, roll it into a new IRA, transfer it to a financial institution like Schwab, or roll it into your new employer's 401k. And while a rollover may sound pretty straightforward, there are important differences between these options. And the wrong decision can have long-term consequences. Today's highlighted mistake is a little different. In this session, part 2, this one has nothing to do with fees. This time, it's about paperwork and timing. And it can trigger a tax bill you never intended to owe, sometimes for tens of thousands of dollars, over a mistake, get this, that's completely avoidable. Let's say you're moving money from a TSP to an IRA, from an old 401k to an IRA, or between IRAs. There are two ways this can happen. The first is straightforward. It's a direct rollover. The money moves from one custodian to another without ever touching your hands. You never see a check. You never deposit anything. It's electronic. It's institution to institution, like Fidelity to Schwab or vice versa, as an example. The second is a bit different. It's an indirect rollover. This is where the check gets sent to you in the mail, made out to you personally. You receive the funds. Then you have 60 days to deposit this money, the full amount, into a new retirement account. Here's where it goes wrong, and I want to walk you through two specific traps. Trap number 1, it's the 60-day clock. If you take an indirect rollover, the IRS starts a 60-day countdown the moment you receive that money. And you miss that window, even by a day, and the entire amount can be taxable. It's a taxable distribution in their eyes. If you're under 59 and a half, that often means tacking on income tax plus a 10% early withdrawal penalty on top of it. People miss this deadline more often than you'd think. A check gets set aside, life gets busy, and suddenly the window has closed. Trap number 2, mandatory withholding. This one catches people off guard almost every time. If your old 401k or employer, they send you an indirect rollover check, the plan is required to withhold 20% for federal taxes before you ever see the money. So if you had, let's say, $100,000 in the account, the check you receive is now $80,000. To complete a full rollover and avoid any tax consequence, you have to deposit the original $100,000 into the new account within that 60-day window. Not just the $80,000 you actually received. That means you gotta get ready to come up with the other $20,000 out of pocket. Yes, temporarily, or the difference gets treated as a taxable event, a taxable distribution. You do eventually get that withheld amount back as a tax credit when you file, but only if you had the cash in the first place. This is exactly why a direct trustee-to-trustee rollover is almost always the cleaner path when it's available. No withholding, no 60-day clock, no out-of-pocket gap to cover. There are a couple other timing rules worth knowing about. The IRS limits you to one indirect IRA to IRA in any 12-month period. It doesn't matter how many IRAs you have. That limit applies across all of them, combined, cumulative. Try to do the second one within that window, and the extra rollover can become fully taxable. And if your old account has both pre-tax and after-tax dollars in it, happens more often than people expect, there's something called the pro-rata rule, and that determines how much of any withdrawal or conversion is taxable. Getting this calculation wrong on your paperwork is one of the most common things we see, and it's often overlooked. Mistakes I see all the time. None of this is designed to be overly complicated, not on purpose, but the rules absolutely reward precision, and they don't offer much forgiveness for a missed deadline or an incomplete form. NIGO, not in good order, right? So here's the takeaway from part 2. When you're moving retirement money, a direct trustee-to-trustee transfer, it removes almost all the risk. So remember that. If an indirect rollover is just necessary for whatever reason, make sure you mark that 60-day deadline the day you receive the check. And know in advance, you may need to cover that 20% withholding gap out of pocket in order to complete that rollover in full. So listen, next time in part 3, we'll bring this full circle and talk about when it actually makes sense to leave your money in your TSP, where it is sitting right now, or the 401k, even after you separate. Because rolling over a 401k or TSP isn't always the right move. And I want you to know how to evaluate that for yourself. If you happen to find yourself in the middle of a 401k rollover right now, and you're looking for a second opinion, a second set of eyes to take a look at it, hey, feel free to reach out. We'll have a conversation. We'll talk about it and see how we can help. The process is a complimentary conversation. And hey, as a reminder, take care of your money the way you take care of anything else that took decades to build. We'll see you next time as we wrap up our series with part 3 of 3. And until then, aloha. Take care.